Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds. And here with me today, I have a diamond in the rough I'd like you guys to meet. This here is Chris Campos. He is a kicker out of Stephen F. Austin. Nice to meet you today, sir.
Nice to meet you, Jimmy.
Nice having you here. I felt like people really need to get a chance to know this All-American kicker. Had a fantastic career over the past 5 seasons, really. A whole lot of points, a whole lot of field goals scored. So, buddy, let's go ahead and get after it. Introduce yourself and let's get going.
Yes, sir. My name is Chris Campos. I was here, born and raised in Nacogdoches, and attended a Stephen F. Austin. Played soccer throughout my whole life. Then didn't really get into football until eighth grade. Had a kicking tryout, and then just started playing football from then.
Yeah, I think maybe not everybody early on decides to be a kicker. And so we have this story as to how does one become a kicker in football? And more often than not, it's a soccer player that comes into the picture, and they're trying to make a name for themselves on a football field. So you end up being a kicker there at Nacogdoches High School. Um, how I don't know. Talk about your days there at Nacogdoches before we move on. Any fond memories that you would like to share?
Yes, sir. The fond memories I had was just the teammates I had throughout my high school career, and the coaches that have been through the program, and just having like a higher class uh a higher class guy teaching me the road of how to go through the practice and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it there's a lot that goes into being a kicker. So, first off, obviously, end up going from Nacogdoches, more or less staying in Nacogdoches, playing for Stephen F. Austin. Was it always going to be that university? Talk about SFA and the really what that school means to you, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir. My plan wasn't like going to college for football because I wasn't really going into that. But my junior year, my head coach Bobby Reyes mentioned that I should go try to college because I had a great leg and had consistency to be a college kicker. So then from then on, he started reaching out to college coaches and landed to Coach Carthel, which he came to talk to me and just like the vibe he gave out and the how do I say just this family oriented coaching staff, welcoming like if it's my second home. And
Nice. Well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, hey, if they really extend the love to you, making you feel at home, I mean, and you are more or less at home. I mean, you haven't really gone too far. So, hey, they gave you the shot, and like you have mentioned, displayed a whole lot of consistency throughout your career there. Talk me through the day to day of you being a kicker, actually, because I feel like not a lot of people really understand what goes into what you do. So talk through some of maybe your training and even some of your kicking drills, if you don't mind.
yes, sir. So first I would like just go out to practice and just be on the side and take any on the opposite side of the field because like I wouldn't like to be like around a lot of my teammates because they'll like get me distracted. But then like I guess say if I messed up during like our only period, they'll like be like, "What's going on? This is your only job." But they don't really know like what actually goes into kicking the football. So it's just like pointing fingers. But they ended up realizing that it's a really hard job and have a lot of pressure because I can go out there one time and I either make or miss.
Yeah, I mean that's brutal. I think a lot of people when they think of kickers, you're right. It's like they have one job and all they have to do is screw it up, and they're either uh, the the guy who helps win the game or the guy who helps lose the game. So there is a whole lot of pressure on your shoulders, and you've got to do that with as much skill as possible. There are kicking drills that guys do in order to better themselves. Which one is your personal favorite?
Well, I wasn't really into drills until I got to SFA. A higher class guy named Storm Reese taught me how to do contact drills where my plant foot's in the right position and the angle of my foot coming to the sweet spot of the football. And you just know how the football should feel coming off your foot with the pop sound. And I would say that was one of my favorite drills that you know that you're kicking a good ball and it's going straight down the middle and that's going
Yeah,
in through the uprights.
I mean, obviously, you want that perfect feel when you hit the ball. Um, Chris, how do you prepare for worst case scenarios? Do you prepare for worst case scenarios? I mean, and when I say these things, I mean, I think about things like maybe the weather's crappy, or maybe you get a terrible snap, or maybe heaven forbid, you have somebody on the opposition coming your way, and you're the guy who maybe has to tackle. How do you prepare for that stuff?
Well, throughout the fade, like Coach Carter would do situational football, where it's like, uh, say we have a mayday field goal, we don't have time, we go out there and sprint, and I guess a high pressure situation, and as in tackling, and he will make us do tackling drills throughout like special team period, so we would know how to tackle and the fundamentals and the perfect technique not to get hurt.
Great, great. Uh, Obviously, we don't want those things to happen too often. They don't happen that often. So, a lot of consistency really amongst the specialists happens when there's a great relationship between everybody involved, whether it be the holder, the long snapper, the kickers. Talk about the other guys there at Stephen F. Austin who really help gel together and function as a unit.
Yeah, I would say overall the whole team, like this past year, everybody was like a say like we're brothers, a brotherhood, and just uplifting one another whenever like say a play goes bad and whatnot. But like the relationship wise between me, the holder, and the snapper has always been good. We've been practicing like say we have a day that's raining, we would always go out there and get some reps in because you may never know if it's gonna be like a wet game, a mist game, or like just an environment that's not like perfect weather. And also practice snaps and holds that like could be not perfect, like pointing the laces back and me just kicking it to have the visual view of how it could possibly be at like a small amount of chances it could be.
Yeah, I mean, you have to train for every sort of scenario, of course. So, I mean, it's nice that you guys, practice that regularly and get yourself prepared in the event that these things happen. Um, what does an elite kicker look like at the next level? Like when we're looking at guys in the NFL, who maybe is doing that at the most elite level, and what does that person look like? Can you talk me through some of the guys that maybe you watch as a fan?
Yeah, I ended up watching a couple kickers. One kicker, well, there's two especially. One that just recently started kicking, Brandon Arbery, and the one that's been kicking, Justin Tucker, and just their consistency of being consistent, making the kicks, having the great form they have, kicking the ball straight, just I guess doing their job as a 100% all the time.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have consistency in your form. Also have to have like the right mindset, I feel. And a lot of that comes from what you had mentioned earlier, where like, you kind of have to take yourself away from everyone else and just kind of focus on your one job, that you're out there to do. What do you feel you bring to the table as a prospect in this year's draft? As one of the top kickers, you know, this year. So, talk about some of your best attributes.
My best strategy would be like you can throw me in any situation. Like, say it could be like a horrible wet game or whatever, or like say we have a mayday field goal. Like I'll be able to be calm and try to make the kick. Well, maybe it's like a 50-50 chance, but be a consistent. So try to make that 50-50 to a 100-100.
I know sometimes what people really focus on for kickers is maybe the longest field goal that they've been able to do. And I want to say you haven't really needed to, kick a lot of these field goals, at least too often in your career. I want to say the longest was a couple seasons ago, where I believe it was a 53 yarder. Is that about right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was a
Um,
53 yarder.
so I mean, certainly has the leg to make the long ones. What's the longest one you've made in practice?
Ooh, off the sticks, it was like a couple years ago. It was a 67, but as a op time, like where the snapper and holder comes into play, is a 65 yarder.
Fair enough. I mean, and I think that these days, I mean, you kind of need to prepare for that sort of thing. I mean, it doesn't happen too often where coaches allow you to set opportunities. Often they throw the punter out there in certain circumstances. So it's nice that you can deliver a 65er if that situation ever occurs. Um, let's talk about this past season and some of your highlights. Uh, had a very good game against Northern Colorado where you scored a whole lot of points total. You had what 12 points in that game.
No,
You alone.
I don't remember. Yeah, I think it was. I couldn't remember.
So can you talk through some of those kicks if you don't mind?
Yeah. So our coach liked to be aggressive and say like there's a fourth down and like either 5 yards or 6 yards to go. And if he knows that we need those yards like early in the game, he'll like throw the dice in and see if he can get it. If not, then we have trust in our defense to get the ball back and stop the other team from scoring. So those kicks through the game, I don't think we had a field goal, but I'll try to treat like every kick as a like a PAT extra point and not try to like overkill the ball because if you do, there's like more chances of you shanking the football than just kicking it uh like 70% and through the uprights.
Yeah, and you've been really one of the more consistent kickers throughout your time. I mean, again, as I had mentioned out the gate, uh, scored a whole lot of points, 465 points as a kicker throughout your career, which is an excellent number, really in the record books for kickers. Scored 86 career field goals, which is kind of nice. And again, as I'd mentioned, second team All American. And a whole lot of other accolades of everything that you've been able to accomplish during your time there at SFA. What are you most proud of?
The most proud of I've been would say just knowing that the coaches trust me whenever they put me on the field to get some points on the board for the team and just having like just the teammates knowing that me going on there just guaranteed points to be added and having our lead further extended and I just guess just having the chance to represent SFA because Coach Carter always say it's a privilege, not a right, to play at any D1 school.
I mean, you've definitely had an excellent career. I know I had pointed out that one game during the season against Northern Colorado. Is there any other particular kick that stands out for you, either this past season or any time in your career? I mean, any kick that is maybe more special than the other, or what?
Uh, I wouldn't say special, but it's like I know I missed the kick. It was my first college field goal, and I went out there versus UTSA, and I missed the right, and then there was a couple. plays later where I could redeem myself, and ended up going out there again and putting up through the uprights. And I knew from then I was like, I got to keep going, and keep making field goals because of the exciting feeling knowing that I added 3 points.
I think sometimes it is the missed ones that we remember the most.
Mm.
Because obviously, if we're very, I don't know, if we're a perfectionist and we want to see, scores each and every time, again, that's just kind of what's going to happen. But again, Chris, been very successful throughout your career. What are you doing these days as you are preparing to move on to the pros?
Well, first I graduate. I needed to graduate. Well, get my master's degree, and then after that, start training hard to have a chance for the league, for the big leagues, and being as consistent as I can. Because I could say that being consistent in a higher, like in a NFL, would guarantee you a spot. But even though it's only 32 spots, it's still hard uh, to get chosen from a lot of players having the same goal as you. You just got to work harder and just
Gotcha.
be dedicated.
What are you getting your master's in, if you don't mind me asking?
Public administration.
So, public administration, where do you see yourself going with that degree? Like, after your
Well,
football days are done.
yeah, like say my football days are done, I would try to become a state trooper with having that as a background and possibly getting picked better than the ones that hasn't had a master's degree. Well, hopefully.
Well, it definitely sets you up for the future, having that that degree. I mean, whether you're a state trooper now or several years down the line, we'll see. Anything else that we need to know about this All-American kicker, Chris Campos? Any other interesting facts or anything else about yourself that you want to share with people or what?
I would say like the one of the missed well, there's like two missed field goals that really like was like dang, like I really missed those. But it was like the first one would say it would have been versus Sam Houston in 2021. It was for the game winner at the very end, and we decided to do not a regular field goal, but it was like a cadence to try to make the other team jump off sides. And I guess the line, like the offensive line blocking, didn't get the memo. And then I'm over there staring at them like, are they gonna say the call or not? And then I just scanned the line, and like whenever I was scanning back to the right, the guy snapped it, and I was like, oh crap! And then uh, I just ran and kicked the ball, and I had the distance like for 60, 65, but it was just a little bit wide right.
Well, hey, I mean, sometimes, I mean, you have that moment where like things happen and you have to react. And so, I mean, at the very least, you were ready in the event that you had that moment, which I know it didn't exactly go your way, but
Mm,
uh, the fact that it was a very high pressure moment, and you were like, I don't know, I mean, you were still able to bring it together. So, I was
yeah,
gonna
it
ask, I
was
mean,
oh sorry,
anything else? Go ahead.
I was gonna say it was a 51 yarder uh to win the game, and we ended up losing by 1 point that game.
Yeah, those are the ones that we remember the most.
Yeah.
Uh, anyways, anything about you, the person outside of football, that you want to share? So,
Mm.
talk to me about anything you got going on. I know we had talked before. You got some chickens at your house. Anything
Yes,
else
sir.
that you want to share about what you do outside of football?
I like to go fishing. Uh, I guess that's a hobby to get out the house and just have my own time, just to relax and just be in my own thoughts. But really, don't even think about anything. I just think about why is the fish is not biting my lure, and just having a good time.
Well, I mean that's fine. I mean, obviously that works. Anything else about you that you want to share before we wrap things up? Anything about Nacogdoches, that you can share, just kind of about your town or what?
Well, yeah, Nacogdoches is like a small town, just a quiet town. But yeah, of course, we have Stephen F. Austin State University being like one of the main colleges, well, one of the main colleges in East Texas, and just having, I guess, the oldest town of Texas, well, oldest city of Texas. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a huge part of Nacogdoches, you being from there, and obviously spending the last several seasons there, racking up a whole lot of stats for them. As an All-American this past season, with record-breaking points and able to go out there and deliver. As we wrap up our time, go ahead and tell all those scouts out there really what makes you a great prospect and what they would be getting if they took a chance on you. So go ahead and finish off with your thoughts.
Yes, sir. If I were to get a chance for the big leagues, I definitely wouldn't take that for granted. I'll put my best foot forward and uh, just be consistent as I can, and knowing that if you put me out there, I'll most likely get those 3 points or the extra point after a touchdown.
Gotcha. Well, Chris, want to wish you all the best in your endeavors. And thanks very much for the interview.
Well, I appreciate talking to you and having this interview, Jimmy.
Sure thing. Once again, I got Chris Campos, kicker out of Stephen F. Austin. Check him out.